my name is Rose Davica. I'm an instructor here at MediaTech, and today we're going to be setting up a PA with an active crossover, so let's get started. Alright, so we are looking at the back of this Yamaha mixer now, and the first thing we need to connect is from the outputs, these stereo outputs left and right on the mixer, down to the crossover unit. So just two regular XLR cables coming out of the mixer and connecting to the inputs on the crossover. Alright, so we just connected our stereo outputs left and right to the inputs on the crossover, which means we need to come from the outputs on this crossover, starting with the left and right high outputs, into the bottom power amp, using B over here. And using A over here. So now, since we're using that crossover for our subs, here is the low output on channel 1 going into the bottom power amp. And the low output on channel 2 going into the other side, so side B of this bottom power amp. So now I'm going to be going from the output of this top power amp to the input of my stage right tweeter or main speaker, and from the other side into my stage left speaker. So now from the bottom power amp output, this is going to be going to the subwoofer that is on stage right, and over here on side B, on this bottom power amp output, is going to be going to the input of the subwoofer that is on stage left. Alright, so subs connected with the speak-on cables, and getting my left speaker connected over here. Alright, so getting our right side subwoofer connected with another NL4 and our main right. Alright, so we've gone from our stereo left and right outputs to the inputs on this crossover. And then on this crossover, since we're splitting, we've got our high output going into the top power amp. The top power amp outputs are going to the main left-right speakers, and then on the low output on channel 1 and 2 of the crossover, those are going to the inputs on the bottom power amp, and then on the power amp outputs, those are going to the inputs on the subwoofers. Alright, so now that we've got our PA all set up, I need to connect my inputs. I'll be putting the guitar on channel 2 and the mic on channel 3 of the mixer. So I'm going to the input on this DI, and it's active, so it's going to need phantom power, and then from the output into channel 2 of this mixer. Alright, so making sure the 1/4 inch is connected to the guitar, and the other end of it is going to the input of that active DI box. So now making sure that this XLR cable is connected to this SM58 microphone, dynamic mic, which is going to go here into channel 3 of the mixer. Alright, so now that we got our PA set up and all of our inputs taken care of, we're going to be powering on. We need to make sure we power on in the right order. So the mixer is going to be first, and then the power amps are going to be powered on next. So power amps are on and turned up. First thing is going to be bringing the master fader up to unity, and then any channels I'm using, I need to make sure that they are on, that ST is engaged so that they're sent to the stereo left-right. And next I'm going to need to set input gain, so I'm going to start by hitting PFL on the guitar. and setting that gain up as someone is strumming. Next, I'm going to take a PFL, so pre-fader listen off, and have it engaged on just the microphone so I can just see the incoming signal of that microphone while somebody is checking the mic, and set the gain until it hits about 0 on that meter. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I'm hearing that guitar through the house left and right. I might pan all the way to the left to make sure that everything's cabled correctly, pan all the way to the right to make sure I've got accurate wiring going on, and bring it back to the center. Make sure that I'm hearing the microphone through the house, and take that back down. So now we're going to set up the phone. I've got 1/8 inch to dual 1/4 inch over here, going into channels 5 and 6. Since I'm going into stereo channels, I make sure that I've got these panned hard left and right, and get the phone connected. Make sure that I turn these channels on, have stereo engaged, and have PFL engaged on both, so that when I'm setting the input gain, I'm setting both channels up at the same time to peak at about 0. And then make sure that I'm hearing this through my system. All right, and then the next thing we're going to be setting is the crossover. So on this crossover, I have my left and right, channel 1 and channel 2. The input is set to unity to 0 right here, and so is the low output 0, and the high output also set to 0 right now, so that I can just start by focusing on that crossover, so that as I'm listening, I'm trying to find essentially a good place to assign which frequencies are going to the subs and which are going to the main left-right. And from there, if I feel like a little more is needed in terms of the lows or highs, I might push the output a little more on one or the other, or scale it back a little bit. So that ideally, I'm hearing everything really clearly, but I'm still getting that kind of punch to the chest from the low end from those subs. Right now I've got the crossover set sort of between 70 and 140 hertz. This has been how to set up a PA with an active crossover. Again, my name is Rose Devica. I'm an instructor here at MediaTech, and thank you for watching.